Now we're recording.
What are you talking about?
Why am I not? Oh, when I'm talking. Okay. I gotta make 1,000 phone calls.
How you gonna be?
Hello. I just want to let you know I'm going to be about 15 minutes late. I just stuck in traffic.
Alright, sure. That should be fine.
No worries. I'll see you soon.
Alright, you got the address, right?
Yes. Yep. Wentworth Avenue. Yep. I'll see you soon.
Alright, see you soon.
Okay. Bye.
Can I give you a call back, please?
Mate, I'm fine. I was just returning your missed call, so I'll talk to you later.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, mate.
Tonight sometime then?
Yes. Yep. See you later.
Okay.
Bye.
Speak to you then. Bye.
Encouraging people that we're working with to see what it's like to do social media, and then because I'm an open book, right? So,
But you love this stuff.
Absolutely, absolutely. So
You love it.
My main objective today is to talk about your system, obviously.
Yep.
All right, that's lesson one. The sales fund. Let me before I get into that. The thing that I am most passionate about in anything that I do is helping businesses to be profitable. The journey to profitability is efficiency, safety, environmental sustainability. So start with why. We'll get you on top of that. Okay, I still want to talk about sales funnel. So from a sales funnel perspective, this is over here is a contract, and below here is cash flow. So Nico goes and has a conversation, and then somewhere down here might do a quote or a tender. And there's other things that you do down this pipeline, and there might be, and we can start to talk about question. How many quotes do you do, and how many do you win? Do you know what your strike rate is?
It's about, depending on actually it depends on the year, but 25% is usually the average we would probably hit.
Yep.
And a good year will go creep up to 35.
So what that basically says is that it's 4 to 1.
Yep.
So for one of those, you've got to do 4 of those. How many of these you got to have? How many conversations turn into quotes?
It's hard because it's not so much the
Different
conversations for us.
Whatever it is.
What gets released by TenderLink or the
Yeah. How many tenders would you look at compared to the number that you actually bid on?
Yeah, we'd look at probably, you'd probably look at, say, 10.
Yeah.
And then we'd bid on maybe 4, and we might grab 1.
Yep. So
yeah.
10 to 4. I'm just going to say, I'm going to say that. Well, let's go a 10 to 5 as an example, so that it's easy. So basically that's 8. So you got to look at 8 tenders. Yeah, you said 10 and quote 5. So we said 10
so
and 4.
half,
Yeah, so but roughly half.
Yep.
So this is what your sales pipeline is, if that makes sense.
Yes.
And then there's other things that help you through that sales pipeline, like your website, your tender docs, tender attachments. Everything goes in with it. And so then you can start asking the question about what is and isn't important. And then there's probably a value. So what's the average value of this sort of stuff? I know it's variable, but give me a ballpark number.
Of tender contract prices that we tender on.
Are you talking about value in terms of like staff time and input in there?
No, the dollar value
overall
here.
contract costs.
The actual contract that you win, average value.
There'll be between
Give me a range.
500 to 1.5.
Yeah.
Now, tell me about the other work that you do that you get to send invoices out for. Because it's not all tendered. It's
So
other stuff that you do.
There'll be like current contracts variations.
Mm-hmm.
So variations would be another stream that comes through.
Yep. What's your percentage of variations you get approved to what you submit?
100.
100%. Okay, nice. Got to ask the question?
No.
Submit more.
Yeah.
You got 100% strike rate.
We're trying.
Like they might challenge us in terms of the pricing of it,
Yeah.
but we'll get it.
Yeah.
A lot of those variations aren't come from us either.
Yeah.
They're from the client as well.
Yeah, that's the. There's a principle up here that you talk about in your management system, which is fair exchange.
Yes.
Yeah. So we just got to talk about.
Do both. Just do the story.
You know, so that's something to be mindful of. But we've got 2 sales pipelines, and I think it's just important that I'm not going to put that there. It's just important to be mindful of that you must have some other clients that you don't have to tender the work. They just keep giving it to you.
No, we don't really have anyone like that.
Well, there we go.
We get asked
You do get asked, yeah.
occasionally. We'll get asked to tender for something
Mm-hmm.
specifically, but that's it.
Yeah.
We've also been given just recently, when I say single select, we're on a project, finished it.
Yep.
A builder completely stuffed it, and they said, "While you're here, can you guys look after it?"
Okay.
It's a $700,000 job.
Yeah.
So it's not like they just handed us.
Can I call it single select? And you know what I'm talking
Single
about?
select.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you get us a few more of them?
So consultant conversations, single select. Now it may be that this work, these projects over here, and the networking, because what happens on the project is you do this networking, that drives these conversations, and it drives the single select process. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So that's your version of a sales pipeline. Mine looks very different. Mine is Google AdWords, website, social media, webinars, conversations, consultant referrals, ... leads, $2,000, Average deal for us is $7,000. So I've got to do shitloads of them. Like we have a database that spits out quotes. You put in staff numbers, construction industry, this many people, this address, spits out a quote, send it to them, click a button, automatically sends them an invoice. Like it's a sausage factory.
Yeah.
Has its challenges.
It
It is a sausage factory. It has its challenges. So, but we have 1,000 companies, 1,000 companies basically with relationships. I can't say they're all like this. Like our relationship, and I probably have got 20 of these types of relationships. And it's my challenge is to get my guys to have the same relationship. If that makes sense. It's just literally about maintaining a friendship. Anyway, that's a bit left field of what I wanted to talk about today, but I just want you to be mindful of what your sales pipeline is, and that's what so largely like 100% of my job is these conversations and this networking to keep my pipeline flowing. This thing, the other name for that is business plan. Okay? So that's the first thing that we can start talking about in a second, and I'll start giving you some other names. ISO, and I'll overlay ISO now, has a model called plan. Change colours. Plan. It's plan, do, check, act. So try to do check. I'll leave AC meeting over here. EC meeting over here. I'm going to wipe that out. So plan, do, check, and act. And that's the cycle of continual improvement. Not very neatly, but P, D, C, A. So when you start the business, you just start doing and you go, holy shit, that didn't work, let's try something different. You check, you act, you keep planning, if that makes sense. So, lightly speaking in terms of how your system works, when to give you like a small piece of advice, when someone from best practice or external party comes and they say, have you got such and such, ask them if it's in planning, doing, checking or acting, because the ISO standards now are all numbered the same way. From 1 to 10, and from 3 to 10 are the doing parts of the standard you follow, and it goes plan, do, check, act. Really simple. So what I want you to think about now, or one of my biggest tips for the day is the word always. When you're venting frustration or it's something's happening, fuck, this always happens, or this always happens, you know? Listen now for that word always. And then say, okay, what can we improve? What can we do? A tool or a conversation or something we can do on a routine basis around always. Like, and you'll hear always. It's now like an alarm. It's like the smoke alarm going beep to tell you the battery's flat. Always is going to be that little bit. So hang on, make your ears prick up. What's going on there? What's that conversation? What am I saying? What am I frustrated about? What might that be? And then, so when you hear that, you go, okay, well, what can we fix? What can we do about it? And the more questions you ask and the longer the conversation goes on, you'll start finding the solution to the problem. Like, I could sit here and I could say, you know, I've seen thousands of building companies and how they run. And so I could spitball 1,000 ideas and you go, that won't work, that won't work, that won't work, that won't work. So a large part of the early part of my career was like sitting in rooms like this going, that won't work, that, you know, people saying to me, that won't work, that won't work, that won't work. I went, fuck it, I'm not giving anyone solutions anymore. I'm going to give them principles. If that makes sense. Because that's the thing, right? It took me a long time to figure that out. So if we think about that, the plan, do, check, act, we can start to talk about what those things do, if that makes sense. So from an ISO perspective, there's a thing in the standard called management review. And your system takes the concept of management review and it breaks it into two parts. But because you've got a small team, you don't need to have these two meetings, for example. But it talks about management review.
We've now sort of created, when we do our advisory meeting, me and Nico will just stay behind and we'll have a further conversation on anything else that needs to be done. We'll just do a double check with each other and then just add that to the bottom notes. That way we're not having 2 separate days wasting his time.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And think about plan, do, check, act. What are we going to do about it? You know, what are we going to do about it? So I'll give you something that's brand new, hot off the press, that I'm playing with at the moment. So have you seen in my videos and webinars and that sort of stuff where I talk about quarterly cycles? I'm constantly talking about quarterly cycles.
Yes, I have. Yeah.
So it's my belief that management review should be quarterly. So we just have this cycle where we're thinking, you know, the difference between a big business and a small business is systems and process. And so most of those big businesses is Q1, for example, Q2, Q3, and Q4. And so it's my belief that EC or AC or management review would be on a quarterly basis. You know, you do whatever you need to do weekly and be touching base, but we're starting to think about how we can actually shift this business forward. Now, I've been banging on about that for literally 15 years. But in the last week, I've actually realised I've found the key that unlocks that process. And that key is, for you guys, what does success look like for you in the next 12 weeks? So have a think about that. What does success look like in the next 12 weeks? So we better go.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you know where Franklin's is at Norwest?
No, but we can follow you.
Okay.
So what about if we ran a session on how to choose a good suit?
That's the brilliant. That I think would be the best and elevate the whole company.
And
But
who would be the best person to present that session?
Oh, we need a super consultant, and that would be my wife Lily.
She's amazing.
She's amazing. She's brilliant.
When you were leading teams yourself,
Yes.
how did you, like if someone didn't have the will, the determination, the motivation, how did you, did you sit down and have a conversation and say, look, your heart's not in this? Like,
Yeah. But yeah, you got to have, as well as a leader, as a manager, it is your responsibility to take care of those people.
Yep.
And manage them through it, whether it's managing them, manage them in, or managing them out. But when you're managing them out, I just don't want to say, okay, bye-bye.
Yep.
I'm trying to still unearth exactly what they really want as, thank you for the reading, what's their fulfillment, right? Well, not their happiness, but what their fulfillment is.
Yeah.
It could be something else, then I would...
Yeah, excuse me.
Okay.
Well, one negative person could cause a 10% reduction in productivity across 12 people. And so you've literally got, you know, or 10 or 12 people, that one person is causing,
Yes.
you know, the equivalent of one other whole person
Yes.
to be reduced out of your team.
Yeah,
you know,
the
when
10%.
you throw a number on that, you say, oh, you know, that person costs the business, you know, that one person, for example, could cost the business $100,000 a year.
Mm-hmm.
That negative behavior could actually be causing you $100,000 worth of lost productivity. You know, forget the lost opportunity in sales and happy customers and all that sort of stuff. So, you know,
Right.
if you were to throw a measure of number on it, you could go, well, that, you know, that could be $100,000 worth of toxic damage that's currently happening.
And that's just within the team, but then that transfer to your
Absolutely.
customers.
Yeah, totally.